Get ready for a Tommy Turbo Masterclass. Tameless Tuesday is here. And the boys are hard as a rock. Don't be a weak-gutted dog. Leave that for Jamin Salmon. Get ready for the best Supercoach show on the planet. It's so good, it's better than Lego. You're now listening to the Supercoach Experience Podcast. Here's your host, Brandon Savage.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Supercoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Jamin Salmons. We are live from our home studio headquarters. Not a damn podcast studio today, not a Picklebet studio today. I'm joined here by Mr. Sir Timoko Mooney. How are you, Timoko?
Yeah, good. Good, very well, thank you. Doing very good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's a bit of a different setting today. Nearly 9 o'clock. It's the Savage household is riddled with COVID, so we couldn't really get out into the wild today. But Timmy, how'd you go on the weekend? How was your weekend?
Weekend was actually really miserable. It was sort of, I can kind of guess I knew where I was at Thursday night. I think I knew I was going to lose my head-to-heads after a poor Nath performance. I had Hosking in my side, who I was hoping to do better than what he did. Scored around 40, which is okay, most weeks, but not in head-to-head finals. And just on the matchup, I thought he'd go a bit better. A lot of my guys getting in the 40s. Standout performers for me were guys in the 70s. That was Bateman, Johnson, Manu, Ponga. Harry Grant got 110, which is nice. Tory Harris, 87. But, yeah, loads of 40s. And it just seemed that, like, all four of my opponents for my all head-to-heads, just for those guys that I had 40s, they seemed to have, like, at least 50s. And more often than not, a couple of 80s there as well. So it just sort of slowly, when you look at it on paper and all my head-to-heads, it's like, I don't know how I got smashed so much, but yeah, it really sort of added up, each player just doing a little bit better than my plotters.
Yeah, I saw one of your head-to-heads, and you had Cleary and Hosking, who you accounted for a 90 and a 60, and Cleary was a spontaneous player, which is like you would have been stoked with that at the start of the week, and then just really weird week of Supercoach. There were 5 or 6 massive captain options, and all of them went sub 100. The highest was Kalen Ponga at 77 points, and he was the most captained, but still, I mean, this surely wasn't
really
a
matter
week.
Which one you went. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it surely wasn't a week where you went outside any of these options. Just a weird week, eh?
Unless you like me and I went Tedesco, but that was only because I was in panic stations and I knew, I couldn't win with everyone going Ponga. So we had mastered some idea where I was going to try outplay my main head-to-head guy and try to trick him into thinking I was going to go Munster. And then reverse it back to Ponga.
So I could just have Ponga.
Yeah, well, I didn't think I was going to be able to trick him. I didn't think Munster was going to be able to beat Ponga. So I just kind of was like, look, I'm going to just have to go Tedesco and hope something happened to Ponga. I'm glad Ponga's fine now and healthy and doing well for the Knights. 5 in a row on news.
I actually convinced a couple of people in some Supercoach chats that we have on our Facebook group. So there's like a chat feature for Facebook groups, and I've created one, and like people are messaging in it. It's actually probably the best part of joining that Supercoach Experience group. So if you are on Facebook, join the Supercoach Experience Facebook group. You'll be added into that chat automatically. A lot of people ask questions like in their head-to-heads, they're a little bit behind. What do they do? I was convincing some people to go Tedesco as captain, but I really tried to convince this one guy to go Nick Meaney as captain, and he didn't have the balls to do it. He was just happy to have him as a pod, which fair play to him. But I was so confident Nick Meaney, and I guess we'll stem that into my week. 1,359, pretty good week. It started off terribly. captain Nathan Cleary straight up. I was always doing it. And, after the game, I was pretty positive because the points weren't there for him. Like, it wasn't that type of game where I expected him to get updates where he was just that close. Like, he wasn't close at all to many points. Like, it was just the way Manly played. Manly played pretty good.
Penrith
And
played pretty under
yeah,
their best, to be fair.
yeah, exactly. And 53 points. And I said to you the next day, because I called you and I was like, you're like, how are you feeling? You expected me to be down, but I just said, I have a feeling that everyone's just hyping this week up to be a lot bigger than it's going to be. And
You know I'm laughing at you, bro. Like, I remember this phone call, and I'm like, "How you feeling?" Oh, maybe I was at the night. Maybe I called you that night, or maybe the next day it might have been this conversation. But I remember either one of those chats. You were like, "I'm fine." Like, and the way the pitch in your voice that you had, you were not fine, hey. And you was I don't know whether you were trying to convince me or you were trying to convince yourself, but it was you were still like staunch on, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Pretty happy with it. I'm happy with the way everything's going. And I was like, the words that are coming out of your mouth does not match what's going on your super coach side at the moment.
it was,
But
I
it's
was, I was,
funny.
I was
You're
admitting
a positive guy. You yeah.
I was admitting defeat, and I was pretty happy about it. I thought, actually, no, I did say to you, feels like a weight off my back. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any pressure on me anymore. But yeah, I actually had a good week. I played Blake Brayley, Jesse Ramian, had played Mulatalo, so I had a pretty good week. I've gone up to 1100, so getting in the top 1,000 isn't far away, which, I mean, a few weeks ago, I would have not been considering being in this position where I'm outside the top 1,000. I thought there was no chance I was missing out, but it's just how Supercoach works. And a lot of people, a lot of the time, say that's what we love about Supercoach. No, we don't love that about Supercoach. That's the worst part of Supercoach. I think what we love about Supercoach is these sorts of weeks that I'm having to give you hope. And then the next week, when these kind of bad things happen, that's when you hate it. So don't let these other people tell you that this is why we love Supercoach. But we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So if you are tuning in, send us in some questions. Troy Beard, 13-11 last week, 753 overall, going Preston to Katoa will leave me with one trade. What do you guys think?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I think Preston to Katoa running at the Dragons left edge, that's been their tougher the side that has let through points throughout the season. So I love that, and still gives you one trade for the rest of the season. What are your thoughts on that one, Timmy?
Love it. I started with Eli Katoa, reluctantly sold him a little bit after that. I think just probably about a month or two ago. So I held him quite a long while and would have loved to have him all year. I just don't feel like we've seen the best of him yet this year. So I reckon this last 3 weeks and the finals, he's really going to explode. It looks like he's just been bursting on, to just absolutely come out, and he's got the makings of a really good second rower. He's got that like beast in him as well, and just in the Storm, I reckon outside
Husey.
Yeah, love it. I just didn't get enough time to gel, and yeah, I really do. I wish I could do that. I think that's going to be a big play. Melbourne have also got an easy game next week, I believe, as
Yep,
well.
they've got the Titans, and they've got in the last week, I think they've got, I forget who they got, but they got the Titans.
Sorry, yeah, here we go. So Broncos in the last round, but yeah, that's a tough one, but he'll still go reasonably okay, I'd say. Like I wouldn't be banking on him as being like someone that's going to be the guy to get you heaps of points in the last round, but the next 2 rounds, it's worth it for sure.
Yeah, we got another question here on the Facebooks. JC Charles, Preston to AFB, Tino or Tarpanay. I'll start with you, Timmy. These three guys, you don't do you have Tarpanay?
No.
Which one are you more scared of not owning?
I reckon probably, definitely AFB or Tino, but geez, Tapine can turn it on too. I reckon AFB or Tino. I'd probably lean AFB is one that scares me the most. I think you can score
Yeah,
tries easier.
and they've got a pretty good draw as well. I think AFB's looking the goods. Tino, tough draw, plays Penrith this week. I don't know how much you can really bank on him getting this week, but I don't know. I think AFB is pretty highly owned. It also depends. Are you considering yourself an overall player or a head-to-head player? And if you answered head-to-head, I would be going towards what your opponent for your priority league does not have this week. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, unless you think you've got them dominated in other ways, you know what I mean, and you want to just block out that. But yeah, I don't know. It can be tricky. It's hard to say. You'd be very team dependent. You have to look at each matchup individually to work that out. The thing I'll say about Tino is the last few like since post Origin, he seemed like he's on the edge of just getting sent off a fair bit. So
Oh yeah. Did he
that's
get
one
put on
thing.
report on the weekend again?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he just everything he just seems to be a bit on edge. It's a bit weird because he's captain, but he's not like being like a Tavita Pangai Junior like mental case or anything, but he's just a little bit
Yeah. Well,
crossing the line.
shout out to Tavita Pangai Jr. because he rest in peace today, retired. So good luck to him in his boxing career. I think that's what he's going to do post career. Real weird move. I think another one of Freddie's children have bitten the dust, and Freddie claims another victim. For first it was Hines, then it was Stefano, and now TPJ. He's gone. Timmy. So I think today a lot of people are in their do or die head-to-head matchups this week, but I want to touch on someone like yourself. Who are you? So you're out. You're out of all your head-to-heads, aren't you?
Yeah.
You also you won a bit on the weekend, didn't you? On the punt.
Yeah. So I've switched to NRL punting.
Yeah, you're a punter.
My Supercoach career is dead. Am I an overall player? No. Am I a head-to-head player? No. But look, I have decided I'm now back to an overall player. Like I was a head-to-head player, but now I've switched back to being an overall player. I've got to try get myself in the top 10K.
Have a nice
I
little
feel like this time of year is a good time to bet on the footy. I just feel like it's the most easiest time to get a read on like particular games. Like some games are a bit like, oh, geez, this one's a bit of a, anything could happen here. But especially when there's a few extra players out and stuff. But yeah, I just find this time of year is a nice time to have a punt.
It is a very nice time, and you've been killing it.
Do so responsibly.
At least there is light at the end of the tunnel. But I think what I wanted to touch on for someone who is out of all their head-to-head finals, I think let's sit back and reflect right now on how your season has gone, because I think once that final whistle blows, we don't want to talk about Supercoach after round 27. I think just after that, yeah, we will have our awards and stuff, but reflecting on a season, I feel like it's a bit of a drag. Let's reflect on your season. What do you think the best move you made this year? And without that move, you feel like your season would be a lot more.
Okay, yeah, this one does stand out. Okay, for a second I thought there wasn't any nice things amongst what I've done, but SJ, I picked up SJ, I reckon.
Round 13, I remember.
Yeah.
Or round 13.
Anyone got him. Yeah, he was still, like the Warriors were still doing well, but and he hadn't really lit it up though. But I was like, oh, it's coming. And that was my best thing, I think, for sure. He's done well
I think
for us.
The fact that you did jump on Ponga as well, that's also a good thing. that I see from an outsider's point of view.
Could have got him earlier, I reckon. I still paid like 700k. Could have got him for that 4, but I had him for a very good period. Yeah.
Is there any other standout moments for the year? Like, you did start pretty hot. You're in the top 1K at the start of the year. You obviously did some things right.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything that looks too flashy. Thinking across the board, no, nothing's really standing out. I mean, maybe Reece Walsh earlier in the year, switching to him early. I think after round 1, went Teddy to Reece Walsh, who pretty much put on tons for about 10 weeks. So,
and Teddy struggled for quite a bit at the start of the season. So, and I think this is going to be easy for you to reflect on. But what did you do wrong that next year you're going to learn these lessons?
Yeah. So, didn't start with Harry. I think I started with Cheese. I know I went to Harry pretty quickly early, realized I'd stuffed that up and Cheese wasn't going to do it. So I fixed that straight away. One of the problems that did cause me stress for a long time was the front row not having Payne Haas. So I had Tino for the start of the year and he wasn't matching it at all. He was sort of scoring like 40s, 50s, 55, 60s, nothing special. He got 1 ton, which brought his average up a little bit.
He likes Asian food. He likes Asian food.
I didn't say that.
You said he got 1 ton.
Oh, 1 ton. Yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, I like you. You're allowed to do dad jokes. I guess you got one asleep in the next room. But yeah, I'll pay that. That was all right. Yeah, I think things that stand out is like not getting Marju. He seemed to hurt quite a fair bit. I'd like to do a full, proper assessment of my side. I mean, the thing I think that it's so much players. I know what I did wrong this year. My biggest issue was not making any money. I just assumed that, money would make itself. I'd make the money when I needed to. No, that never happened. A lot of the time I was prepared to lose money on players. And if I had to look at my squad value now, it could be close to less than what we started with. I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trades hard.
I see your side at the moment. You've got Rapana, you got Sivo, who's back this week, so a bit of a shining light for yourself. Which is weird because like you're waiting for Sivo to come back when Dylan Brown was on that side, and now it looks like Dylan Brown's going to switch to the other side because Arcee's a left foot kicker.
Oh, that sucks. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to happen. But Timmy, I think we will reflect a little bit more at the end of the season when we all kind of sit down and
let me do my homework. I mean, it's been a bit disastrous.
Guys on the Supercoach Experience panel, be expecting them questions. And if I had to be in a similar, if I got asked the same question, I would say one of the things I did right was held my nerve and like with Reece Walsh at the start of the year, yeah, I missed that. But I went Latrell when everyone else had Walsh and Teddy, and I was able to capitalize there and jump up the rankings another way. I think if you follow the crowd after it happens, yeah, I think following the crowd is a good thing a lot of the time. But sometimes if there's an equal good option, that's probably the way to go. I wouldn't be like passing on someone like Nathan Cleary to keep someone like Tanner Boyd in your side just because he's scoring 50s or 60s. Like, I think that's a bit silly. But like, if you're going a Latrell over a Reece Walsh, I think that's a pretty good one. Timmy, you did mention you're punting on the weekend. Picklebet have a massive promotions this week, and I will release them at the end of the week on the page. But my big multi this week, which is an absolute cracker, it's around $50, and I think they're all locks. I think it's a lock. So I've got all these try scorers.
What are you already daily over here?
I've got 4 try scorers who are absolute locks, and in a multi, it's about $50. So I'll post the exact odds on our Instagram page, the SC Experience, at the end of the week. But Talakai, anytime against the Cowboys. Stafford Toa, anytime against the Dolphins.
You can't
Marion
call this a lock, bro.
Marion Seve anytime against St. George, and Matt Timoko Mooney against the Canterbury Bulldogs, nearly $50. Use code TURBO when signing up. Know what you're gambling with. For free and confidential support, visit 1-800-858-858 and visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. What are your thoughts, Timmy?
I don't
Timoko?
mind it, man. Like, it's fun for a bit of a punt. Like, chuck $5 on it, but that's not all like those centers scoring. Like, it might happen, but
I probably shouldn't say it's a lock and then follow it up with know what you're really gambling with, but these are all so there's a reason behind every single one of these try scorers. Talakai, the weak right edge of the Cowboys defense, Toa, Jack Bostock in the centers, Valence Tafare in the other center. They're just weak on the edges. I don't know what side each of them are going to play, but they're very weak on either side. Marion Seve against the weak side of the Dragons, and Matt Timoko, a right center, has scored a try against the Bulldogs in the last 3 weeks. So,
all right. So, do you want to have a bet on it? Like a side bet off pickle bet? Like, you can chuck $5 on it and make some money on it, but you know what I mean? You have a side bet. So, if 3 of those things happen, just 3 of the 4, then I have to eat the Super World's hottest chip, the one that Jake's been raving about.
Yep.
But even if if 4 happen, then of course I'll still have it.
Yeah, of course.
And then on the flip side, if
or less.
So you have to get no. So how would I get in on the other side of it? So you eat a chip.
So if 3 or more try scorers score, you lose. If less than 3 score, I lose.
Yeah. So 2. So if you get 2,
if I get 2, I lose.
Oh, actually, see how bad I am with numbers, eh? It's really starting to show.
If I get 2, it's both of us.
Oh, we're not both doing that, bro. That's a me thing. That's just a void thing.
I think we are at the end of the season anyway.
Jake's owed a hot chip, everyone. We did have a bet when the people weren't aware. This was a bit of a side bet in the chat. Jake and I had a bet on the Sharks and Penrith game. The line I gave him was, I think it was 15.5. And we won 26-0. So Jake's
I wanted you to not back out and go with the 18.5 line. You're too bitchy to do it. But Jake still agreed. I don't know why, because Sharks are in bad form then. But we will do that by the end of the year. But
yeah, look, for that bet, that's fun. That's great value. It's good value, but it's definitely not a lock. It's great excitement to have a little something in each of those games.
Okay, enough of these side bets. Let's talk Supercoach, and I think I'm going to, with what we talk about next, this kind of ties into the same subject of silly antics on the podcast. What are your trades this week?
Yeah, look, I don't have any trades. Haven't any trades for a bit.
I've got 1 trade left, and the reason I ask you, and the reason I tie this into silly antics on the podcast, I want you to wear a Spider-Man outfit to the podcast next week, and I will wear it too. You know the Spider-Man meme where he's laying back and it just says no trades this week? We're doing that.
No, I've looked into it. It's expensive.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like $46. So you can get an adult costume from Big W. That's an expensive. It's an expensive gag. I don't know if I'll get another wear out of that. Like, unless we were to like make a day of it, like just going around being Spider-Mans together. Like, I don't know if
and just put our feet up. We'll say no trades this week. It only really.
I'd have to wear it twice to get enough value to justify that purchase. So yeah, I think we'll call that one off and spend our money on hot chips.
Stay tuned. We're going to answer some questions quickly, and then we'll move on to the next subject. Sam Ford, Gutho or Cody out for Munster head-to-head focus? This is an interesting one, Timmy, because I do have 1 trade left, and Mitch Moses is injured. Cody Walker is off next week. But there's no one in particular I'm very keen on in these positions. I'm thinking if I do make a trade this week, it has to be one of these guys. But I'm very tempted to go someone like Preston to Katoa, Gutho or Cody out for Munster. I think it's a no-brainer.
Getting Munster, yeah, that's great. I think he's getting Munster. Like, obviously, great draw, killer. Munster, I think is a good time for him. And Gutho and Cody both obviously have a bye. I reckon.
So Gutho.
Oh, would you? Just a little bit of part of me thinks that Gutho could really sort of step up.
He does step. Oh, he will goal kick without. Yeah, I don't hate it.
Cody's been a little bit, not so much underwhelming and whatever. It's just like I just feel like him and AJ got to do a bit to get their points, and even when they do it, they're still only getting like 70, unless they really smash a side.
Yeah, interesting.
So I feel like Gutho could just do a couple like. He's got a pretty shitty draw too, doesn't he? Let's have a quick look at
He has Penrith next week, and he has the Roosters this week. So the Roosters, they've been defending okay, but just in attack, they haven't clicked. But I feel like the Eels can pick them apart a little bit potentially. Yeah, I think I'd definitely go Cody. But oh no, Gutho tempts me as well. Head to head.
Yeah, actually, look, I'd sell Gutho. I reckon just Cody could do.
Timmy. We forgot. He said head to head focused at the end of the question. I think that answers it.
Why does it sway you? Oh, because of the 27 thing. Yeah,
Gutho does not miss any head to head matchups, and Cody does next week.
Okay,
but then again, Gutho plays Penrith next.
Depends how much depth you've got and who you'd replace to cover Cody in that round with, you know what I mean? Then to take that in consideration. Cody could go okay against the Knights. That's like, I know Knights are going all right, but maybe this is the game where Rabbitohs really turn it on. Knights have been up for a bit, and this might be the game they need to lose before the finals, where they're brought back to reality sort of thing. So I kind of like Cody's matchup this week more than Gutho's this week.
Agree. I do see the Rabbitohs coming out and killing it. Luke Clipperton, second row forward pods cannot afford Fifi or Tino considering McKinnon 64 and the rest in base the last few months. Or Nat Butcher with nice base and attacking upside. I love both these guys, but I really think Eliesa Katoa is the guy with the soft draw. I think he's got the attacking upside. It's cheap price, but
he'd be at that price too, would he?
He's at 5'10", I'm pretty sure. Whereas these guys,
similar sort of McInnes Butcher sort of price range, is it?
Yeah, but these McInnes and Butchers, they don't have the upside.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Eliesa Katoa has this upside, and he's kind of got similar like base stats. I would count like tackle busts and like runs in base stats, offloads in base stats for Eliesa Katoa, whereas these guys, they just tackle 50. So yeah,
Eliesa Katoa feels a little slightly riskier just for the fact that he's got to get that little extra bit of attack in him. But the fact that he does have the ceiling, like you're saying, I think does seem like a better option. If he wanted to pick one of those, though, and he's not keen on Eliesa Katoa, I'd probably lean McInnes.
I do like McInnes. I like both of them. I think go with your gut. Like, if you've already looked past Eliesa Katoa and these are the guys that you've narrowed down, McInnes seems like the guy, like Brayley feeding him them balls for them try assists through the middle. I like it.
Then again, I don't mind because the Roosters, I feel like, are just going to fly on a winning streak to the finals.
Yep.
They've got Para, which kind of I feel like could be a walkover this week after them getting smashed. That's a weird matchup. Para and Roosters are equal on the ladder. Whoever loses this game got no chance of making the finals. So it should have a semi-final feel. But I've been saying, trying to give Para a bit of respect for the last couple of weeks. It's just not sort of working out for him. Maybe they're just done and dust.
I think the Roosters put on points here. And, I
So maybe
like
go
the
in
fact,
that Butcher because he's probably got more upside than McInnes.
and Kiri to Butcher. Kiri loves feeding his left edge back rower. I think one thing to note though, Angus Crichton is back on the bench, so that could affect Butcher's minutes on the edge. I assume he pushes into the middle though. Liam Howie, he's
Yeah,
I think
this is the guy that saved my life in up in Magic Round. Yeah, what a legend. We talk on the regular now. We talk on the trades. We're little like pen pals.
no, very nice. Is
Mm.
Hammer to Connor Tracy a cheeky pod for my last trade? I'm playing a bloke I got minced by last week in this cash comp and need a big dick play. Connor Tracy against the Cowboys.
I don't know. I don't think
I'll tell,
that's the guy.
I'll tell you who I think the guy is. Liam Howie, big dick play, and I think it's pronounced Liam Howe, not Howie.
All right, I've been calling him Howie the whole time.
Yeah, but I assume people call him Howie because Howie is just a common nickname.
Yeah, it's fine, but I still thought that's what it was, and it changed my perception.
Please
Howard?
clarify.
Yeah,
Please
please
clarify
clarify.
for us, Liam. But I think someone like Dane Laurie playing 5'8", available in fullback is
He
a
has been
better
on
play.
fire. It's a
3
nice
tries.
matchup this weekend. I can't believe they're $1.32 favourites against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Like I know the Dolphins have got, the real back end of the pecking order guys coming up and playing in quite a lot of spots, but I still reckon the Dolphins can rally. Like surely Bennett's got another speech in him to get up for another. There's only 3 more games for the season. Sure, he's got one save for him. $1.32. Jesus.
He has 2 big speeches all year, and he leaves them for very critical moments of the year, and they only last 2 sentences most of the
So you
time.
reckon Dane Laurie? If he's thinking of center wing though, it's a bit awkward because I just feel like you've got to. I'd have to check his scores, but I've just got a feeling that the Storm are going to go on a little bit of a tear the next couple of weeks, and because of that, I feel like Coates is going to score a lot of tries. I just don't know how that translates to
He's
him
got
going.
he scored a hat trick earlier in the year and scored 76. So
Yeah, that's
I
probably not.
don't love it. I like Seve. I think Seve's got a bit about him. He's got a bit of Olam. I think he's got a bit more about him than Olam does. And we've seen last year that he does have a ceiling. I think Stafford Toa or Dane Laurie are good matchups this week. There's also potentially
To bring those 2 blokes in as your last couple of trades, though, like
I know.
it feels it feels whack.
It really does. I guess there is another question here that could tie into this by Matt Kazakari. Need a center wing. Is CNK a buy? So he was named at fullback this week. Plays
If
6
he
o'clock.
plays, yeah.
Yeah, plays 6 o'clock on Friday night. So he plays early. I love CNK as a purchase, but if you're looking for a pod, he's not the guy.
Well, he's not a pod. Yeah, he's pretty hot. But you know what? A lot of people got off him that had trades because they thought he was done for the year, sort of had value in him.
Exactly why I held off selling.
Yeah, so I just didn't have any trades, but yeah, so I'm pretty stoked to see he's on the list. A bit in my mind, like I think I want to said on this pod or it's another one saying about like it feels like he should be out for a while because of the 3-week
The
things. But just the fact, the fact that there's like the finals are just here and they need him, sort of thing. So if it's not like a legit emergency for him to take it off, get him on the field. But yeah, I guess it depends how he's going, huh? I guess I'm monitoring up to this moment, and it's a second game of the round. So good news is we can know for super coaches if he's in or not, play him, buy him, put him in our 17s, If not, then adjust throughout the week.
That's it. Dean Edward, people are looking to win head-to-head this week. Who is the standout player pod who could go large and get you over the line?
I guess that's pretty much what we're sort of trying to find in the 2 questions that go for probably Liam or one of the other blokes. Okay, so I got one.
Yeah.
It's a bit random. Let me just make sure. It's a bit random, but like Rapana or Hopawati, I feel like maybe they could put on a bit of points against the Dogs. I know it's a bit awkward, but Rapana's got some big scores in his history, man. Like if he wants to have a field day, he can have a field day. Now it's a pod. What are you covering up there? Your primes. These kids these days with their primes.
I've got a pod myself who I'm very keen on.
Who? Oh, Saab.
Nope.
The week got a dog.
Nope.
Cherry Evans.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Cherry Evans is a mad one.
So Cherry Evans break even is 66.
Tougher game this week, but the next 2 rounds.
He plays the Warriors this week, and I'm 17K short. So I need Cherry Evans to get. I haven't done the exact math, but I think he needs to get about 30 for me to afford him next week. And he plays the Dogs and the Tigers in the following 2 weeks. And I think if I get through to any head-to-head finals, he's going to be my trump card who is going to get me over the line. And I'm very excited. I could have got him last week, but I didn't do it. And the funny thing was I was just holding off that trade just to make sure I didn't need it. But Moses got injured anyway. I probably should have done it last week when I could afford it, but I can't. There are some options I'm considering instead of him. Like I'm considering going Moses to. I consider Luke Brooks for a bit because he's playing the Dolphins this week, and there's the very bad matchup. But I considered Fogarty as
I'd be more interested in him.
Bulldogs this week.
He'd be kicking too.
Goal kicking, yes.
Yeah.
I also consider Matt Burton playing the Raiders. And the Dogs have a pretty good draw to end the year. They've got Manly.
I was saying Burton before, and I didn't mind Burton just as a name, but yeah, I'm not feeling it. I like you do DCE, bro. What the fuck?
I can't afford him yet. I need him to get 30 against the Warriors.
Oh,
so
okay. I wasn't paying enough attention. I was talking to Howie. I don't know if it's How or Howie. Hold on, we're getting a Howie. Is my nickname. Oh, it is pronounced How. Yeah, we've got confirmation. Yeah,
Howie, when he came in his defense, those Savs were pretty cooked. When we met, we had to write phone numbers on our arms. I'm a great.
It sounded like we're picking up, eh? But like
I'm a great reader of human beings.
I don't know about that. What do you think? You are medium. That guy. What is it? Simon. What is it? What's his name? Hey, but by the way, how he's going to get Rapana. So look, the listeners, they listen, man.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Rapana's not a bad shout, man. You see. Rapana for 80 plus this weekend. I'm just putting it out there.
So I'm in 3 cash comp finals. I am playing someone in the one I want to win this week. It is Ben Wiramu. Trade's gone. I think he's.
Did you beat Wilf last week?
I smashed Wilf.
What?
I smashed him. I'm through to the semi-final of the Top Sport charity.
Wow, congratulations. I thought you were going to be cooked in that. I thought he'd have you, especially with the captain of Cleary in the first game. Jeez. Shame on him.
I won. I came through. I had all them players, and we've got Ben tuning in right now. Good luck, Savs, in the head-to-head this week. Spewing we couldn't meet in the grand final, but regardless of the result, it's been a great season, and I've enjoyed it. It's been very fun because I've seen him comment every week, just like revving me up and all this. I just want to win it, but I'm like, I'm like, you can't hate this attitude. Like if I
I
don't
wouldn't go
win,
into the game too friendly, Savs. You got to remember, you can shake his hand at the end of the weekend. At the moment, I'd be getting steely faced and talking talking a little bit of smack at least. Anyway, not
well,
how lovely's Benny and look at you both. Like, suppose it's you guys that didn't exchange numbers and
and he goes, Mio, you have to win it. I agree. One of us. I don't care who wins, as long as it's us. One of
good
us.
luck,
Because
boys.
I feel like we've been wanting to win it. The prize is $5,000, and as a as an authority of entry, I pretty much said I would donate a further $1,000 to charity. I kind of, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I
Tried to
kind of
buy
just
his entry.
pretty much it got me in. It got me in,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm versing Benny this week, and I'm trying not to let a lot slide on what I want to do this week because you might play some tactics on me. Sit versus start is very interesting this week. Very interesting. I guess talking about sit versus start, who are you sitting and who are you starting this week?
Yeah, look, I haven't paid a great deal of attention to that. There's no one it's going to be pretty much the same. I'm rolling out the same mob each week. I don't have any Broncos, which is nice. It's probably just a question of do I play Utakamanu or do I play one of my center wingers? I'm struggling to bring her up. Yeah, look, okay, I might be struggling to find to play center. I've got more depth this week than I did last week. I don't think I have anything to report that's that exciting that's going to help anyone else with their sit v starts at all. Have you got anything you're going to reveal to Benny and the rest of the community?
Preston is out.
Yep.
He's out for the season, it looks like. Hopgood is on the bench. So this is an interesting one. At the moment, I'm not playing him. And Benny, I know you watch.
I think he's in second row, isn't he?
No, he's second row. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's on my bench. Benny, I know you're watching.
It's weird that he's in second row. I think that's weird.
Yeah.
We'll see how he goes.
I'm tempted to sit him. He's on my bench at the moment. But the thing that worries me is he's guaranteed 80 minutes if he's playing on the edge.
Well, he might be more likely to, but they could still move stuff around.
They could, but I guess with Nickel Clockstad playing, he's in. Preston out. I think I'm playing Horsburgh instead of Hopgood. Harris is out at the moment, and Brayley is out at the moment. So, yeah, Brayley did me well last week, but I go on statistics and averages, and he didn't score that well in the past against Cowboys, so he's out for me.
Well, what are your thoughts? So I can contribute a little bit more. Like, so my sit v starts are coming down to I've got to make a decision in my center wings between like who do I leave out of all of my guys, which is Katoa, Rapana, DWZ, Joey Manu, CNK, Sivo. I'd probably say Sivo I'll probably leave Sivo out unless Chance doesn't play. Yeah.
All right, captains. Who are you captaining this week?
Cleary's a massive standout. I don't think there's too much around that. The nice matchup for the Storm as well. Don't know if I'd be confident captaining Munster. I think let's have a look at the breakdown. Yeah, you can't. I don't like it. You can't VC. You might be able to VC Cleary, and if it doesn't work out, captain Munster. But it is quite late in the round. So you'd have to make sure that you've got the players to swap off the field and then back onto the field and then captain that's not playing.
I like Munster this week. I think
you just straight captain him, not straight captain, but you captain him, yeah.
Against St. George, it seems with the Melbourne side when they're hot, it kind of goes week to week who who gets the points. And yeah, Munster scored 88 on the weekend, but he really didn't dominate the game. I think it's his turn to dominate.
And when we're getting like 70s from all the main playmakers in really easy matchups last week, he's a bloke that's going to punch out 70, 80, 90 for you pretty much most weeks. So I guess you take that. And if there's more than what he normally does, happy days.
Yeah. And I think Hines is an underrated option this week. I think the Cowboys were falling off before they went on the bye, and having the bye
for Thursday night. Just last week is burnt.
Having the bye could really stunt their attack and just stunt what they were growing. They kind of needed that extra week just to grow that continuity again. And he hasn't gone big in a couple of weeks. Like, yeah, he scored 100 against Souths, but that wasn't one of his big daddy scores. I think the big one is coming, and a dry track at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. If I'd
look, if you've got,
I'd put the VC on.
But if you've got Cleary in your side, I wouldn't go anywhere near putting the VC on Hines, because then you won't be able to do anything with Cleary.
Well, then straight captain him.
Nah, why would you straight captain Hines against a decent side?
Realistically,
on a Thursday night,
must-win matchup.
Normal. They could be the grindy and like finals games that it's like, 10 all at half time, 20 to 18 by full time, and he's only been in 3 of those. Well, he might have been in 3 of those and still scored well, but you could pick Nath up, who is a $1.05 favorite against side paying $9, where it just could happen so much easier.
I just think I think Hines is the pod play this week, and I don't think in a.
I think Sav's trying to get into Benny's head. I think that $5,000 starting to get to you, mate. Benny, I don't think he's going to be straight seeing Hines, and I don't reckon you should do it either, brother.
In a must-win head-to-head, I don't think looping is the play, regardless.
Yes, I couldn't in a million years take Clear. Like, do you want to do a hot chip over it? Who scores the most?
Over what?
Hines and Cleary. I'm taking Cleary. You're pretty keen on Hines. You
I'll go Hines.
Want to have a hot chip on it? You want to have a hot chip on it? Do you want to have any like? Do you want to have any like if one of them goes down injured or is pulled off up before 60 minutes as like asterisks? Then it's a void bet, like 60-minute mark. If they're pulled off before that.
I'm not doing that bet because Benny's just come out here and said, I've already made my choices. Sav is playing his own mind games. I agree. Cleary's the captain. No doubt in my mind. Cleary is captain. He scored his record 225 against the Titans at that same stadium. So there's no way I don't go.
Yeah, can't put his hot chip on the line. When when I have to know you start talking shit, I have to pull out a hot chip and see where you're at.
But if I was you, Benny, I'd probably VC. I think Fafita. I'd captain Fafita against Penrith. I think
this is like Queensland giving New South Wales advice at State of Origin time. All right, well, next segment.
Yeah, all right. I think that's pretty much it for the week. It's very late in the evening, so we've got to get this podcast up on your audio listening platforms. It's a bit of a weird one today over Zoom. It's very different. It's very I don't like
it. You can't play tootsies under the table, you know what I mean? So
I don't like it, Timmy. I think we'll be back. We'll be back next week. No COVID next week, hopefully. And yeah.
Good luck for those people that are still in head-to-heads or fighting for any sort of overall glories.
I feel like
may the Supercoach gods be with you.
Are we missing something? Team list? Team list.
I don't know. You're the host, bro. I'll just bounce off you.
Today was very, very.
Where's Hads when you need him?
Yeah, I know Hads. I actually I've been planning for the show every week. It hasn't been off the cuff like
You've
it
been
has
busy
been.
today. I understand that. Yeah,
Oh, I've
yeah.
been so busy today.
I don't know. I don't feel like we have gone through teams lists, to be fair.
Don't really. No, we don't need to. But is there anything important that usually be like a hot topic or something?
Well, the Dolphins have got heaps of players out, but none of
Yeah,
them
they
that
got
are at
heaps of
least
players
on
out,
page relevant.
but they're playing the Tigers.
Oh, except
So,
for Hammer. If you got Hammer, obviously you need to punt him.
Penrith are playing the Titans, who Tanner Boyd and Kieran Foran are out. Jaden Campbell is defending at 5'8", and Tom Weaver comes into the starting side. So I think, yeah, I can't really go against what I said before. I think the Panthers are going to absolutely smash the Titans because, yeah, they've still got that forward pack, but Mo's back, which is good, I guess. They got a pretty good forward pack that can match up with them, but I think their outside backs and halves are just no good.
Are you trying to convince me now that I'm the one that thought that Hines was the better option as a captain? You sound like you've been on Penrith all week.
Yeah, I have been. Maybe Cody Walker to Jerome Luai, the villain, as you call him.
I don't mind that.
You don't mind the villain?
Yeah, that's exciting. It's an exciting one. It's a fun one to have because, you can make heaps of mad memes, you know what I mean? Send it to your head-to-head opponent. Call him, you can be his daddy, that sort of stuff. Like it allows for a lot of extra trash talk.
Yep. That's it, I guess. All right. Cheers for tuning in, guys. Apologize for the scratchy episode, but we'll be back next week. It's been a busy day. And if you have any questions, just message us on the Supercoach Experience Instagram page and we'll get back to your questions.
That chat group's going nuts. They can get into the chat group.
Chat group is going nuts. Join that. The Supercoach Experience on Facebook. It's going to be a big week of Supercoach, Timmy. You can sit back and relax. But for a lot of people, it's
pretty stressful times for those people up the top, sort of particularly up the top 10.
Well,
and head-to-head, got some cash on the line. Some people got some big bragging rights on the line. Some seasons, people played head-to-head seasons for the same folk year after year, and there's this one bloke that they've never been able to beat, and this might be the year.
Have you seen the overall battle as well? It's heating up very big. I think the top the top 4 or 5.
I think what it must be Raging Polo. You're lucky you're all the way over in Jordan Springs, bro.
The top 4 or 5 are like 150 points in between each other.
It's tight.
It's very tight.
Very tight.
If you're any of them, what move would you be making this week?
I feel like it's their business, you know what I mean? That's their business. Whenever I was up the top and people were trying to talk about how to beat me and stuff, I was listening to other podcasts that edge me out, eh? That's none of my business.
When you're at the top, I really tried not to say anything because I didn't want it to be my fault that you lost.
Oh, I blocked a lot of things out too, so I'd be very I wouldn't allow things to be in my ears. So
yeah, it was good. It was good you did that because you had the hot hand. So there was
good luck to those guys that are competing for it. And
I wonder if any are listening. I know there's Blue Reddos. I think they're 4th and they're like 100 points off first. Their husband listens to the show. So shout out to Blue Reddos. And I'm pretty sure they're top of the Supercoach Experience group. So shout out to them. I hope you get past. And Raging Pole, I have a feeling that it's Raging Pole.
That's what I was trying to say when you bloody said stop cutting me off. I wanted to say that. Of course it's Raging Pole. That makes so much sense. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Sorry.
If you go back and listen to it, you can maybe hear me start to say that. I don't know
Oh,
how
sorry.
quickly you cut me off. No, that's fine. That's
I'm glad.
fine. But you know, it's not nice to cut someone when to feel like you're being cut off and then cut someone else off. That's not, it doesn't take, you doesn't. I don't know. I was trying to make a saying that I'm like a parent would say, like it doesn't take two to tango, but I don't know. I've never had the right sayings for these sorts of things.
Well, it's funny because in Beers and Break Evens, I listen to that one weekly, and Raging Pole is always up the top, and it really annoys me because I think it's Raging Pole, because
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
it makes sense because he's a footy player, and
Yeah,
a lot of
this guy's not just talking about like he's not just going to talk about boners. Like he's not just like boners are fun. Like you know what I mean? He's like making a meme name. That's fun.
And I remember at the start of the year, I got this wrong with Blue Redos. I was calling it Blue Redos at the start of the season, but there's an apostrophe there, so it's Blue Redo S, Blue Redos, like Redo plural Redos.
Yeah.
So I think
Keep
I've
saying
got
that, and it starts to lose a lot of meaning. Oh, let's wrap this one up.
Cool. Let's wrap it up. Cheers, guys, for tuning in to our dribble. Very dribbly this week, but we'll be back in the studio next week. And Had's very close to that time of year where he goes into cricket, and his girlfriend is like 37 weeks. So I think we'll pretty much lose Hads for the season now.
Yeah, Hads has got some pretty strong commitments now.
Here we go.
Respect to the man.
All right. That's enough dribble, lads. Cheers for tuning in.